Hi, I'm Jim Lane. I'm with the Mid-Florida Mustang Club. Today we're going to do a video about how we judge a show, and we like to make it as simple as possible, and we really want to recruit judges within our club, and we want to show you how we do it in the simplest way. I want you to remember that this is not a national show. You can't go to Barrett-Jackson and get more money for your car. It just doesn't work that way. But I just want you to know that this is how we judge our local show. Let's go. My first sheet is this car and this car are both occasional drivers. They're in the same class. We've shown the sheets that they are identical. Modified, occasional driven. The sheets are identical. Concours, you will never have to worry about doing concours. We have gold card national judges that do that. That's for authenticity. Our cars are judged on cleanliness and condition. That's it. Nothing else. Cleanliness and condition. So that's what it's all about for our show. Daily driven, the engine compartment in the trunk is not judged. Everything else is identical. So we're going to walk through this, and it's easier to just watch how we do it, and it makes better sense to you, okay? So here we are at our car show, and I just got my clipboard, and I'm ready to go. My first guy, Mr. Farron Lejeune. How are you, sir?
Good.
Good. Is this your car?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for bringing it here today. This is beautiful. I love the Shelbys. Can you tell me, is there anything happened on the way here? Did anything happen? Did anything fly up and break anything?
Not this time.
Good. Fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and judge your car. Thank you. The first thing I will do is follow along the sheet on the occasional driven. The first thing I'm looking at is gap body panels, gaps, and alignments. So basically, I'm looking at everything. Doors, gaps are the same on each side, top to bottom. We don't ever have to close anything or make adjustments or anything like that. Our gaps look great. That would be a 0 deduction, circled. Paint and finish, uncorrected chips and damage. Now I just walked this car, and the only thing that I saw is in the front. And if you look, we have an uncorrected stone chip here, and you can see that there's a little fiberglass flexing over here. So that's really the only thing that I see on this entire car as far as uncorrected rock chips. So that being with two that caught my eye, that's going to be a -1 deduction. Next, we move on to the windshield and glass. Windshields, especially in 50, 60-year-old cars, you're going to have hazing from the wipers. They've been used for 50 or 60 years. We're not looking for that. We're looking for deep scratches or cracks. That's what we're looking for. This windshield is perfectly acceptable the way it is. Perfect. So this is 0. 0 for the glass. Now we're going to look at the trim. All the chrome and stainless, the bumpers, the moldings, the grills, lights, mirrors, wipers, exhaust tips, door handles, gaskets, and seals. All right. So if you have a helper, you can basically break this up, whatever works for you, or you just go ahead and do it. Chrome and stainless. Basically, he's got his mirrors, trim around the windows. I don't see any dents. Moldings look good. Gaskets and seals, being original glass, you've got a little bit of cracking here. I will make a note. Slight cracking on windshield molding. But you know what? It's 66, it's an old car. It's 50 some years old. I'm not taking a point off for that. That's normal. That's just absolutely normal. The paint chips, I'm sorry, I'm going to back up for just a minute. The paint finish, the uncorrected damage, which I did take a point off of, I am going to write that I have uncorrected paint chip in the front, left bumper, left front bumper, and flexing at the center, and crack at the center. That way, Mr. Farron, when he goes to look at his judging sheet, he'll be able to either take care of that or not, whatever he decides to do. The wheel wells. The great thing about wheel wells, if you can see it, the judge can see it. So we're looking at wheel wells. If you have a mark or something, this is just now we're going to get into, this is a recommendation. If you've got a mark in your wheel that you just can't get out, or it was a paint blemish or something from the factory, which it happens, you'll basically want to put that up here at the top. Does it make sense? If I don't see it, I'm not laying on the ground looking up at the top of your wheel. It makes perfect sense, right? This is all about getting it done. So now your wheel wells, we're looking at them. You know, I'm not touching, just looking, and we do have a little bit of tape showing here. I'm going to make note of that because that just needs trimmed off with a razor blade. Okay. Looking at all four wheels. I don't see any mud flung up in there. Old dirt, which is what we're looking for. Good. The tape is secured. You know, I'm not going to take a point for that little piece of tape. That's just, you know, that's nitpicking as far as I'm concerned. That's, you know, I will make a note. Trim the tape on driver's side. Next one is the wheels, rims, and tires. I just did everything together. There's nothing on that either. That's a 0. Mandatory fire extinguisher. Let's see. Now, typically, if you have a daily driver, you're going to have to display it. So you need to lay it out by your driver's side front tire. Don't put it under like this, because if you forget and you drive over it, guess what? You've made a huge mess. So we'll just leave that there. It can be in the trunk if the trunk's open. That's fine too, no problem. No deduction because he has a fire extinguisher. Now, looking inside the car, we do not open doors. We do not open hoods. We do not open trunks. The owner can do that if we need to. Right now, we display the car with halfway. Typically, you should be able to do everything you need to do with your hands behind your back. So that's what we'll do. We'll look at the carpet and the mats. Carpet and the mats. Look in here, I'm looking for like old dirt. You know, I mean, I'm not looking for a dog hair in the sunlight. I'm looking for rips, holes. You know, is it really faded to like almost white? It's a black interior. Is it really faded bad? No, it's not. It looks good. Seat belts and seats. Any rips, tears, bad stains? No, it look brand new. Nothing wrong there. -0. Doors and kick panels. They're a little bit tough to see indoors, but we're just, you know, we're gonna pretend that, you know, being outside, you're gonna be able to see a lot better. So, for all intents and purposes, we're gonna call that good. Now, your dash and steering wheel. Oh, he's got a hat there. Wonder what the hat's hiding. This is what you had. This is another piece of the puzzle. You don't want hats. You don't want stuffed animals. You don't want shirts, coffee cups, things in the car. Excuse me, Farron. Hey, can you do me a favor and just pull your hat out of there? I don't want to take a point off. You know, if I know you're not hiding anything, and he's not. That's, you know, you want to treat people the way that you want to be treated at a show. You do not want to be a nitpicking guy that go in there and say, "Ooh, I'm taking everything I can." No, you know, you want to treat them with kindness. You want them to come back. You just want to be fair. Now, he left his hat there. He's driving with it this morning. That's where he always puts it. He forgot it. No big deal. All right. So now the dash, the steering wheel, and the console. No cracks, nothing. It's great. No points. The pillars and the headliner. I'm looking up, It's absolutely attached all the way across. The bows are tight. Everything is great. No points off. All right, now we're into the engine block. Engine block attached components, including the belt, hoses, and wiring. All right, and we're looking in here. There's no oil puddled. There's nothing leaking. I don't see, it looks fantastic. This is the way, that we do this. That's a zero. Your radiator, fan, and shroud. Original radiator, fans, original. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it was or it wasn't. It can be an aluminum radiator. It can, it can have electric fans on it. Doesn't matter. This is about cleanliness, and this one's clean. Okay? Aluminum radiators. You want them polished. You don't want to bring an aluminum radiator in there with water spots all over it. I'm just giving you a little bit of advice. You want that polished. So get some metal cleaner, make it shiny. That's why you have it, for extra cooling and making it look good. And now the engine bays and the underside of the hood. Now the hood, it looks fantastic. There's no issues there. Now inside the walls, no, I don't see anything. And a little trick for the trade, if you're at a show, you got to remember that, you could have one leaf or two that might blow in, but this little guy, the Swiffer, is your best friend. It gets all the little dust of all the little things. And as a judge, I would never do this, but this is one of these tip items that I'm trying to throw at you. You can get everywhere with this, and it just keeps your engine compartment perfectly clean. So, best friend right here. So there's no points taken for the engine compartment. Now the trunk, we'll come back here. We'll look at the carpet, the mat, or the floor, or the floor. All right, so these have this has a mat, and it's perfect, absolutely perfect. And the walls inside, underneath the deck, and the weather stripping, everything's absolutely as it should be. Not an issue. To finish up our judging, this is the final piece. The sticky dot goes on the windshield driver's side. That way we know that the car's been judged. And the other important thing is I will sign my name to the judge's sheet. Okay? Farron, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
All righty. My second car is this 19 Mustang. And, this is awesome too. So anyway, I'm looking at the chairs. I'm going to go back there. Hey, Farron, do you know if Joe's here? Have you seen him?
He's here someplace.
Okay.
He's not very far.
All right. Well, all right. We're going to start judging this car anyway. We'll see what we can get done. All right. So we're going to go to the same sheet. We're on the occasional driven and body panel, alignment, and gaps. Now, I know for a fact that Joe bought this car new. It has never been wrecked. There isn't a body panel on any of the late model cars that are going to have a variation in gap. The cars had to have been T-boned or hit severely in order for it not to go back the way it came. So I can tell you right now, as a cheat for new cars, you can look it over, and I will. But I'm talking one in a couple 10,000, are you ever going to find a body gap problem with a new car? So anyway, we're going to walk through it. And as I said, the gaps are absolutely perfect. In the meantime, I'm looking at paint and finish because I know these gaps are going to be as they should be, and they are. So that's a zero deduction, obviously. Now, the paint and finish, uncorrected chips and damage. Okay, so corrected and uncorrected chips. If you have a blob of paint that's red, hopefully, over a stone chip, that is not a deduction. That is absolutely not a deduction. If you don't correct it, that is a deduction. So I don't care if you have 15, 20, 30 of them. If you have blobs of paint on 15 or 20, 30 of them, that is not a deduction, no matter what class you're in. The uncorrected is what we get. And Joe has one here that he knows about, but I am going to write it down. That is, unfortunately, a point, but it's uncorrected. Okay, so now the windshield, the side glass, and the rear window. Now this is where you can be a little more difficult if you want. I mean, not saying good, bad, or indifferent, but E-Pass. That's not a point. No, it didn't come out of the factory that way, but so what? That's what we use. If you have a sticker for the MCA or the club or, Daytona or wherever you've been, no big deal. It's just part of your personality, never a point. So the glass, nothing's cracked. Nothing's got deep scratches in it. I've already walked around that. I know that that glass is a 0. All my trim, the chrome stainless bumpers, moldings, grille lights, mirrors, exhaust tips. Okay, so let's look at it. All right. One thing I do see, just even from here, you can see there's some wax that's built up on the side skirt. That's just careless. That is something that can be addressed. It should have been addressed before the show. Therefore, that is a point. Okay. So we have that, and I'm going to write wax on driver's side skirt. Okay, now we'll just look at the wheel wells. Wheel wells, I do not see any road fling all over them. I'm looking at the tires also. I mean, I do the wheel wells, the tires, rims, everything together. It's just easier that way. So basically, most times, if you're going to get old dirt, it's going to be in the wheel wells, and you will see it. Now, the wheels and the tires, they look good. So we're moving right along. The back, there is like such a little bit of a mark that, he may have run over a puddle coming into the show. We're not going to worry about that. I'm not even going to write it down. Okay, looking back here, it's the same thing. Looks good. And over here, not a problem. All right, so that's a -0 for the wheel wells and the rims and tires. Fire extinguisher, and I don't see one around the car. I wonder if it's in the trunk. Oh, there he is. Joe, how are you? Hey, man, thanks for bringing your car out. It's awesome. Could you do me a huge favor, though?
Sure, what's that?
Do you have your fire extinguisher in the trunk?
I forgot to bring it with me.
Oh, okay. Well, can you open your trunk? And I can't see your interior because of the tinted windows. So can you either lower them or halfway or whatever? Because, it's unfortunate if we were out on the field and Joe wasn't found within, the time that I'm judging his car, I would stop and just keep going to the next car and the next car. And when I saw him or came back and checked, I would find him, and then we would do the same thing, and I'd finish up judging his car. So that's another thing. So, all right, thank you. So we're looking at the interior, the carpet mats, seat belts. It's a new car with new seats. It looks perfect. A trick out in the show field. You don't have electric, you don't have power. You've got little pieces of fuzz that you want to get off your rug. This is a little tip from yours truly. Masking tape is your best friend. The fatter, the better. Take it. You can roll it around your hand. And you can go across the carpet. This is your best friend for out in the field, no matter where you're at. And there's always something that gets on your carpet. Always. So you can't be too careful getting all of that taken care of. All right, so back to the interior. Carpet and mats is a 0. Oh, by the way, another thing. Suppose Joe didn't have his carpeted mats in there. It says carpet and mats. Should I take a point off or not? That's a question. The answer is no. If I'm not looking at a dirty mat or a damaged mat, and that carpet looks good, 0. That's the only answer there can be. Okay? Seat belts are 0. The doors and kick panels, you're gonna be hard pressed to find points on an interior of a new car. 0. The dash and steering, it's obviously not gonna be cracked. It would be basically if, that would basically be all it would be. You would have to have like a spill or something that you could see blatantly in order to take a point. So the pillars in the headliner, everything is in perfect condition. So that's obviously 0s throughout. Now we're going to look at the engine. We're going to look at the block, the attached components, the hoses and wiring. Okay. Here's something that you can see, late model stuff especially. They use a lot of wrapping and they use a lot of tape. What happens is the heat from the motor, a lot of times you'll start loosening off. And guess what? That's what's happening here. Now, I don't usually typically touch a car, but I'm just trying to show you what's going on here. This is loose. You never, ever, ever want to go into a show with wiring and stuff that's hanging like that. You're better off just taking that off, throwing it away, or cutting it off. Very important. This is easy points right here, easy points. So we've gotten rid of that. What if I find a leaf up here that's just laying randomly? Could have blown in. I'm not going to take a point for that. Oh boy, but when I come over here and I see a whole bunch of leaves stuffed in the corner, yeah, sorry, that's a point. Got it for that one. And basically I'm going to write leaves, as in multiple leaves, in corner of the hood. Okay? So the fan shroud, that's all good. That's a 0. The engine bay and walls and the underside of the hood, that's perfect. No problem. Carpet trunk mats. Now that we have the trunk open, he's got a nice WeatherTech mat in here, which is fine. Everything looks clean. I don't have a whole ton of leaves in the back. That's a good thing. He only has them in the front. So that's a 0. And the walls and the underside of the deck lid are a 0. Now, here's the other pro tip. When you're at a show, you want all your wheels cleaned as far back as you can. So in here, where it's all nice and dirty and dusty, you're going to want to sponge that out and get all that black carbon from the brake pads out of there. Tailpipes, another easy point. This is easy points. Inside, not only do you do the outside, the chrome part, you want to do the inside to where it's clean. This is important because if a judge at a national type show ever goes and looks at a car, he's going to do this, and they do touch. They open doors. They do all of that. They climb around. They do all kinds of neat things. We don't do any of that. But I'm just telling you as a pro tip, you want to clean the inside of your exhaust pipe about that far, just so you can see it. You don't want black soot hanging off of it and all that. So, and with that, I'm going to come over here. I finished judging. I need to put my dot on the windshield. I need to sign my name to the sheet. And I need to tell Mr. Joe that I appreciate him coming out. Joe, thank you for bringing your car out.
Thanks.
All right. You guys take care and we'll see you.